Did you guys like the cinema game today?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, did you see, Martin, did you see? We were very much on the same wavelength. Yeah, it's funny. Long Kiss Goodnight being...
Because I was like, oh, I can get them to go to Tom Hanks with League of Their Own or The Fly are the two that I thought I was trying to at first, and then I'm just like, oh, no, I'll get them to...
Yeah. I thought about Keaton in Beetlejuice.
Okay, that's a good one, too.
I
didn't even think of that.
Yeah. So I started there, and then I dropped Riley off, and then, I pulled over to the side of the road. I'm like, I'm getting this one. And I started going through it. I'm like...
Pulled over to the side of the road.
I was like, I got it. And it came to me and it hit me. I was like, oh, I got to put this one in. Welcome to our Film Fathers podcast, the definitive podcast about fatherhood, film, and fatherhood in film. This is Jelani, and with me as always are the fifth rider of the apocalypse and the conductor of the choir of death, Martin and Brady.
Where were they going, so full of hope? There is no hope. Not for them, not for you, certainly not for me.
You know, hope is a mistake. If you can't fix what's broken, you'll go insane.
This week, we take the road less traveled, and a road you'd need to be mad to even attempt. With the recently released origin story of Furiosa, we went back to watch Mad Max Fury Road to get the entire Furiosa fix. George Miller's vision and world building is still spectacular to see on screen. Are there more stories to tell in this world?
I feel like he might go on forever. He's been doing this for a long time.
I didn't actually know that he did the OGs.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe I knew that when Fury Road came out, but I don't know.
I say the line? I'm surprised you didn't know that. That's what was so impressive.
Yeah, 79 he directed the first Mad Max.
Yeah, I think that's what was so impressive about Fury Road, for me at least, because it was so far and away superior to the old ones. Although I like the old ones, maybe not love, but and then I was more surprised he did Furiosa. I thought he was going to be like, all right, I'm going to pass the torch or like let a new director or something do it. And it felt like a different film. It felt different than the other ones.
So according to Miller, the script for Furiosa was already complete before Fury Road came out.
By him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah.
With that said, that was one of my questions as I was watching Furiosa is why would you release Fury Road before Furiosa?
I think so. He kind of said that it was more because of I think how he is, and he created essentially the
world building.
The world building is to essentially have the Furiosa character. He fleshed out this entire backstory about her, so that Charlize had that to work off of.
Can I tell you something? I wish it would have went just untold. I liked it better in Fury Road. I liked not knowing. Sometimes you just don't want to always know. That's why I feel like prequels don't always work for me. If you're a really big fan, and I know there are a lot of huge fans of this that probably love seeing it, but sometimes the fans don't know what they want. You know, people say that. Like, the fans don't know what they want until you give it to them or whatever. Right?
I saw that guy's reel.
Yeah, maybe I shared it with you guys or something like that. But like,
Johnny wouldn't have seen it if you did.
Yeah, if it's a TikTok, I don't get it.
But yeah, like if you're just doing it for the fan service, you find that they're going to be like, it's always better to if you think two people are going to get together, like Mulder and Scully on X-Files, which I didn't even watch, but as soon as they do, people lose interest, and the shows always suffer. Or like Twin Peaks, when they told you who killed Laura Palmer, people tuned out. It's always better to have the mystery. And I think for this case, I loved Furiosa, the character. Charlize Theron did amazing, and you got enough of the backstory, and they kind of teased it to where you didn't have to see it. So when I was watching Furiosa and they explain it all, it felt like, it was fleshed out beforehand. That makes sense to me. And it didn't feel out of place. It just felt kind of like, okay, well, now I know. Now it like confirmed what I already kind of thought.
I didn't
that's how she loses her arm.
I by no means think that Furiosa's, as good as Fury Road or anything, but I actually enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I said I didn't enjoy it.
You didn't. It just sure sounded a lot like it.
It's just, I think I just love Fury Road so much, and I was so impressed.
Right.
We saw it in the theater, and still love it. Love this rewatch of it. To where Furiosa was just okay.
Yeah, which I think is probably right.
But I enjoyed it.
But I also think there is just a general lack of really good, action.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was some great George Miller aspects, I think, of Furiosa. I just, I found myself essentially kind of into it. And it was long.
Yeah, it was longer than Fury Road.
Oh, yeah. I was surprised, actually, how short Fury Road is. Just in my brain, it feels, yes. But also just anyone making that movie, it's oh, yeah, you're going to make a long movie, right? It's you automatically make a long movie. But no, you don't need to. As we've said many times, I think you can, as long as you're telling a good enough story, you can fit it into under 2 hours.
Cut out all the fat and just leave pure gasoline.
Yeah,
I didn't know that they said gasoline until I saw the subtitles on. I always just thought they were just saying gasoline weird, but
yeah,
it felt like a different word.
So let's talk about Furiosa at least, since it is essentially the earlier version. The young girl who played Furiosa was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and she was on for a long time. I'm like, is Anya Taylor-Joy going to show up at some point?
Well, and I feel like I kind of noticed it, but until I read it after the fact, I don't know that I would have said it. They also were using they imposed Anya Taylor-Joy's face on her the further the movie went to kind of blend that growth.
That makes sense. It almost felt that way, right?
Yeah, and in hindsight, like I said, I think I was seeing it, but not I wouldn't have called it out.
Yep, that's good CG. Yeah. When you don't know it until after the fact.
Right.
Would that be? I feel like at the parts when she goes down to save the truck is that probably wasn't Anya Taylor-Joy, but that might have been when they did some of the CGI to put her face on that actor or whatever.
Yeah, the actress. Yeah.
I've said it before, so I'm not a huge Anya Taylor-Joy fan. Loved the Queen's Gambit. That's kind of when I came across her.
It's okay.
But
you haven't seen her other works, like The New Mutants and Last Night in Soho?
I did not see Last Night in Soho.
I did see that. That was
our guy, Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright. I really wanted that to be great. But if I didn't like it, I can't imagine you guys like it.
No, what was her more recent... it was
she was in that the other Nicholas Hoult. Yeah,
the movie on the.
We did
with Fiennes.
Yeah,
the menu.
The menu. Thank you. And I think that's when I said it. I'm just not a massive fan of her. I will say though, I kind of liked her in this. I thought she did
good.
She did good.
I just don't know if she was Charlize good.
Well, high bar because Charlize crushed the Furiosa character.
Yeah, I think she could have been in this.
So there was talk of that, and I think she wanted to.
Yeah, why not?
Is a lot older, so you're telling a younger story. So I think there was talk of
a younger girl
of doing the de-aging
and
thing
doing
with
a little
her.
bit of de-aging.
So there was talk. What I read was they definitely that was on the potential.
I think that could have worked,
and they decided against it.
Okay.
But she signed off on Anya Taylor-Joy. Being
and like you said, she definitely did passable.
I know where you're going.
Why Chris Hemsworth? Why didn't he just do it straight like himself? Why did they have to give him the nose?
Here's the thing. I think because if he does it straight, I was thinking
it's too much Thor.
I think you're just seeing Thor.
Yeah.
Why
is that his real voice too?
I don't know.
No, it's not. He said he created it for there's seagulls.
But are you asking did they digitally change it or?
Well, I'm wondering if he went back to his Australian accent.
Well, that's the thing. So he said he wanted to be Mad Max. This is this. I think the quote I saw, I didn't copy it, but the quote I saw was from him said, like, Americans have Star Wars and Australians, we have Mad Max. Like, this is a thing for us. And so he desperately wanted to be a part of the Mad Max, like, franchise. And so he got to. So he definitely, like, he took it very seriously, but it was his decisions were.
And I don't know if they were his. I just don't know why he put the fake nose on him.
See, I didn't mind the nose because I actually felt like it just took him. I didn't think it even looked like him, which to me was fine because I didn't want to see Thor out there.
Right.
So I feel like it's just in the world that has been built, you can be over the top and gimmicky and not feel like it's massively out of place. I think you just know.
I mean, have you seen any? Have you guys seen the other ones?
I don't believe I have.
So I remember.
I just watched Beyond Thunderdome again,
I think
too.
Beyond Thunderdome is the only one I've seen.
Yeah, it's pretty over the top with that kind of wacky stuff.
But that's one that I think we watched camping, like in the late 80s.
It's very campy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's also
a Peter Pan element.
The inspiration for California Love.
Yeah, the music video.
Oh,
yep.
Where they're on the dune buggies out on the
dune buggies. Yeah. Master Blaster.
Yeah. And Tina Turner.
Right.
Looking good.
But I think that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Then,
so like I hear you. That's why I forgive it. I in
that world it doesn't seem to me like, I mean,
it just
Immortan Joe is like, there's some fucked up shit.
But I love Immortan Joe.
Right. But I'm just saying there's some weird shit going on. So like this eccentric, I think they said like he attempted to like cultivate the character of Dementis off of like multiple, like rulers over the years. Like there's a Roman aspect. I did kind of dig the chariot with three cars.
Yeah, it was cool.
3 motorcycles.
I didn't
instead of.
I didn't hate his character. I didn't hate the way he played it. I don't like the
prosthetic nose.
Yeah, and I just don't like the way that they tried to. Maybe it should have just been a different actor. For that reason, like maybe it should have just been somebody else that could. I don't know. Maybe Momoa would have been good playing it like he did in Fast.
No.
I know you didn't like that, but that was an eccentric character too.
We did not.
For that movie that worked for me more than this worked.
No.
This take.
I was gonna say,
I wonder if more people agree with me or Brady on this one.
If you don't like fake noses, if you don't like fake noses, don't see Roxanne with Steve Martin,
right?
Because that's a fake nose.
Or I'm thinking of Ocean's 13, right? Matt Damon does the nose plays.
Martin thinks the nose does not play.
The nose does not play in this situation.
To your point, Brady, yes, because everything else in this movie is over the top, and the actions of like the War Boys and the actions of Immortan Joe and everybody is over the top. Mm-hmm. Like even the way it's shot, and I don't know if maybe this was just the copy I watched. There was like it almost seemed like jittery at points, like, and maybe that's the way that George Martin wanted. I said it,
George Miller.
Miller wanted to do it, like have like that frenetic pace at certain points just to kind of keep you in it.
It felt more CG than Fury Road, right? Like I think that's what's so impressive about Fury Road.
Correct.
Is that there was very little of the stuff that seemed CGI.
I think they said there was like 90% practical,
and that's why Mad Max 2 is so good, because it's all practical. And for like 1982 or whenever it came out, was just kind of mind blowing how good it was. And then it went campy with Beyond Thunderdome, and Fury Road went back to just this. This is how you would make a movie in 2015, where you have unlimited budget and you can do so many cool things with a little bit of CG, but mainly practical effects. And I feel like Furiosa just was like, all right, we already have the audience. We can go back to more CG.
So I was curious about that because I really liked like all the vehicles and stuff like that. If they actually built those things, and,
that I think they did.
Yeah, because it was just fun to like watch like the huge monster truck that Dementis had. The war rig was impressive. Yeah, and then you see like obviously then. In Fury Road, they got the war rig and all those practical cars and things like that. Like, I feel like those special effects.
Is practical the word to describe those cars?
Yeah, practical. Some of them are. The
tank car,
the tank car, the What was the one that Emotin Joe drove? His like two double decker,
yeah,
like on top of each other.
Yes. Yeah,
all the cars have like 3 engines.
They all have the air intake where they're spitting the gas into it. I mean, how cool! It's just very cool stuff
to cool it off,
right? Yeah. That was only in Furiosa, right? That was in the other one,
but yeah, just having all of that and like I think those guys. That's when you have fun. Like when you see like the physical elements that are being constructed, like in Batman when they did like the Batmobiles and stuff like that. I think I get a kick out of that because I'm like, somebody got to be like, oh, we get to build this. Like this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, right. They get to design it and just your wildest dreams, right?
Right.
Well, what would you do if you were trying to be really
you're just scrapping pieces,
extravagant? Yeah. With this, I'd put two muscle cars on top of each other or something. Yeah, put a tank wheel on a normal car.
Yeah.
Did you guys recognize our in the very beginning? I guess two. We had Hemsworth's wife, Elsa.
Yes, Pataki. Yeah. I thought we'd see more of her.
100%. I was like, oh, geez, was she just to tag along to work one day? And they're like, we'll put you in this thing.
You have to be in this, honey.
He's like, I'll do the nose, but she's in it. All right, we got a spot. Not her, but the other girl that rode after Furiosa.
I think I was only looking at Elsa.
Elsa? Did you recognize her?
She looked familiar, but I did not recognize.
Okay, so she looked familiar, same, and I looked her up because I was like, God, I feel like I know her, and it's because we saw her not that long ago. It's Charlie Fraser is her name, and she was the Australian ex-girlfriend in Anyone But You.
Yeah, no, she was the mom. She was like the main character in Furiosa, right?
She was character would have been Furiosa.
No, I'm not the main character, but like the main mother,
the one who went after her at the beginning.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. I thought you were saying like a small part like Elsa.
I mean, she was really only in it for about 5 minutes.
She was the one that died.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, she was the one. Yes, I did notice that. Yes.
I thought she was a 5-minute character. You thought she was the main character,
right? So apparently, that's who the movie's about.
Like the main. I mean, I'm sorry, the main woman.
He's like, I've seen enough.
He's like, I saw a nose, I shut it off. He's like, get this whole thing.
I thought you were saying she was right next to her or something, and it was only for like a second, and I didn't notice. But no, yeah, she was in the movie a lot, and yeah, I did notice her.
Okay, she again wasn't in the movie a lot. So we're on the same page.
Quite a bit. She was her mom.
Do you know how long this movie was?
She was in for like movie 10 minutes. It was 10 minutes max.
That's still a lot more than 10 seconds, which is what I thought when you were saying.
And I said 5 minutes. But,
all right, my bad.
My bad. Elsa Pataki, on the other hand, was in it for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's where I thought. Yes. Yeah, we're saying the same thing.
Okay. But yeah, I was like, oh, damn, we just saw this girl. And I was like, yeah, totally. I
recognized her right away.
Yeah. She's
recognizable.
Recognizable, yes. No, I liked the Vuvolini, like the idea of these. And that's the thing, I think, especially after did you guys watch this in what order?
Furiosa first.
Same.
See, I didn't. I watched it to get a refresher from Mad Max, so I watched Mad Max first.
Okay, yeah, I was like, oh, if anything, I want to go. I'm going to go in with a prequel into.
Yeah, I kind of like doing it that way because I'd already seen Fury Road. You guys know I don't love to rewatch movies, but I've already seen it 3 or 4 times. So
I think we might need another member of the podcast.
I was going to say
this sounds like time to quit. He's trying to quietly quit over here.
You know I don't like rewatching movies.
Well, you guys know I don't.
Almost 300 in.
Well, I talked to Kevin about it, and he's like, "What do you mean you've only seen your favorite movie like 5 times?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. I've seen because we watched Big Lebowski, and I was like, yeah, I've probably only seen it 5 or 6 times all the way through." And he's like, "What? That's him. He just watches things over and over again, like West Wing on 20th viewing. So it's just unheard of for him."
Fair.
So I had a question. When in Furiosa, when they go to Gastown. I think it's Gastown.
Bullet Town? Gastown?
I can't remember, but they do
really creative names.
They do the Olay chant.
Yeah.
Is that like the most common, like just massive amount of people do a chant?
Yeah.
The Olay, Olay, Olay. Yeah.
It's oftentimes in the New York Times crossword puzzle too, as a chant. So I think it is pretty universal.
You're universally accepted if you just go out in the street and start chanting it. People
it's not like only in South America, or it's Europe, it's South America, it's Australia. I think it's everywhere.
In the future, when everything's burned
down, that'll survive.
They haven't forgot their chance.
And then I did like the fact that the map that she had on her arm was lost, right?
Yeah,
like the star map that she drew out, like that kind of makes sense because I was thinking about this, like when in Fury Road, if she knew how to get back to her home, like why didn't she take the wives there? Like why did they go back to the Citadel at the end and take over the Citadel?
Did you miss?
Wait, did you not pay attention to?
They said they already went through it. That part, it's easy if you missed it because they said that place with the crows.
It's where they were
getting
stuck.
After they saw that tree.
Yeah.
I imagine it was like right past the tree part. They got unstuck by the tree.
It was ruined by pollution.
Got it. Okay.
There was no more green place because that was it. It turned into that.
Yeah, and they said there was a place to crow. There was a guy like walking on stilts. That was kind of weird.
There were multiple.
Yeah,
actually.
Right? I remember
don't
that.
Get what those people
Agreed.
were supposed
that was
to
unexplained.
be. It's unexplained. And then
unless it goes back to like the earlier movies or something.
I don't remember seeing it in something else.
But yeah, that she did try to take them. That's where she was taking them. It just
they're like, you passed it on your way.
Yeah,
in.
it was back there, and it was like pollution.
The town is 20 miles back that way.
There's a guy back there.
My friend's an idiot. My friend's a little dumb.
Got it.
And then they go, and then Max.
Then they go back to the Citadel.
So then it was either to that point they were going to drive across, hoping to find
60 miles
days
of
nothing when she went.
Days. Yeah. It was to hope that maybe something is across the salt flats. I mean, they're in Australia. There is an finite amount of space that they're going to go through, but
they're going to hit ocean eventually.
But yeah, that was so. Yeah, maybe it was just missed, but
yeah, you want to go back to the place with water. I love how Morton Joe's like, don't get addicted to water. You just need it to live.
What was the deal with his like clear?
I don't know.
Suit?
I think they're all they don't fully explain, but it's all radiation. They say they have half-life versus full life. I think it's like half-life is you have tumors like what's his name had Nicholas Hoult
Barry and Larry
on his neck, so they're all like cancer or dying of radiation poisoning.
Got it.
And some people aren't, so I think Morton Joe is just
that was the full functioning human that they were looking for, was a non-radiation or non-sick
got it
child to come into the world.
Yeah, and they found a negative O negative universal donor.
Right.
Hold on to that blood bank.
That was crazy. I didn't remember all of that from Fury Road in the beginning when he like drives with him on it. That's the reason why, because he's getting the blood transfusion.
Pretty wild way to start it, right? What did you guys think of Tom Hardy?
I mean,
so quiet. He barely said like 5 words in the movie.
I'm a fan of Hardy. I mean, I think he's done well over enough in different ways to prove that he's a phenomenal actor.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, he's worked with Christopher Nolan many times and in good ways, and yeah, he was great in this. I thought he's Venom, which Colin loves. My son Colin loves Venom.
Never saw either.
You never saw the Venoms?
Mm-mm.
First one's with him. The second one's with him and Woody Harrelson.
I mean, I literally did use the Venom movie today, but that's only because I knew that Spider-Man had to be a part of it.
Right,
the Cinema Chain game, the Marvel helps.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when Tom Hardy's the last one, you got some options to go to. Could have gotten Edgerton. Edgerton's also an Australian
warrior.
But what'd you think? You like?
I am a fan of Tom Hardy, even before the Bane voice and all that. Like,
yeah,
I still like the Bane character. I think it was great. But I liked him in Inception.
Yep, for sure.
And Warrior, as previously mentioned.
Yeah,
I think that's a great film.
He's jacked as shit in that movie.
But yeah, I think it was interesting because I felt like, again, I hadn't seen Mad Max in a while, and again, it's more of Furiosa's story than Mad Max. Like Mad Max is just there.
Agreed. It is. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Both of these movies essentially. That's why it actually was. I feel like it was good to watch both of them, and I liked that I watched them in order. Was because it is just straight Furiosa story through and through. Mad Max is. It does feel like a companion piece to that movie.
Like he's just there, kind of What purpose did he end up serving other than maybe helping them direct them back to the Citadel? Like,
I mean,
yeah,
he's a badass.
He was bad. He helped a lot.
He made some moves,
and that's why I like their quick connection. Charlize and Tom Hardy. I think it worked even better than. What do you guys think of Praetorian Jack?
Yeah,
like that relationship, or
I felt like that was fine. It wasn't as
strong, right? As
really. I don't know that it was attempted to be. They didn't have time.
It seemed like they were trying to make it that way. Do you guys know that actor from anything?
I looked him up, and I really don't.
He was in this show called Strike, written by J.K. Rowling. She did a bunch of basically kind of like a Sherlock Holmes type character or whatever, like a detective. I watched a few episodes of it, but I recognized him from that. But that was about the only thing I've seen him in.
Yeah, I did not remember him or recognize him at all.
Didn't not?
I didn't not. Full sentence.
Got to be Yearable. What do we think of all the wives? Riley Keough.
I mean, Rose.
Was that Riley Keough? Is that Rose?
No, Riley Keough was there.
You're talking about Rosie Huntington.
Rosie Huntington, Statham's wife.
Yeah.
Oh, is that who she is?
Yeah.
Okay.
This might have been pre. I'm not sure, but she was like a model.
I think they've been there. They've been together for a while.
She's just striking.
She's a former Victoria's Secret model. I think.
She's a striking young lady. Riley Keough definitely feels like early, catching her early, especially now. Watching it now, she's done Daisy Jones,
right?
And
which I haven't seen yet.
Really feels like
I know it's right up my alley.
Yeah,
right? She was in Logan Lucky too, right? Which you loved.
Correct.
It's got all your fans. Tatum, Craig.
I liked Craig.
Craig doing an accent, not a Southern accent. But yes, I don't know. It was.
And you forgot Zoe.
I was going to say
Zoe. I didn't forget it. I was just going down the list there. Courtney Eaton and Zoe Kravitz. Yeah.
Yeah. If those types of people exist in that world, man.
I like when they're like the Vuvolini or whatever. The women are checking out. Like, this one has all her teeth. But yeah, I don't know if I'm kind of gushing about Fury Road, but. I just do think it's
phenomenal, and honestly, like you kind of touched on it earlier, it just doesn't really let up. There is no lulls, and it's amazing to watch. And it is kind of gorgeous. It's just a gorgeous visual the entire time. There's so much. I think I saw they shot the night scenes during the day, but then they shot just with the exposure all the way, and then he just played with it.
Yeah.
And there were numerous comments of other directors. Soderbergh, one of them, was like, I don't understand. I have two questions. How are you not still filming this? And how are people not dead? This is just insane. I think there were multiple that were showing them and stood up. I think Robert Rodriguez was like, I don't understand how you shot this.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
a feat.
It got 10 Academy Award nominations, won a bunch of them. Best cinematography for sure from John Seale. So I don't know if that's from him, but Best Picture and Best Director got nominated as well, which is kind of crazy.
Second sequel to receive an Academy Award nomination for Best Picture without any predecessors being nominated. What was the first? This was the second sequel to receive a nomination for Best Picture.
Godfather got nominated, so it's not that.
Without any predecessors being nominated.
I saw this answer, so.
Bing, bing, bing.
Can you give me a decade?
Bing, bing. The aughts? Or
the tens?
2010s? Bing, bing.
I was going to say, but I think Avatar and Avatar 2 and that was the day afterwards anyway. So I don't know.
Animated.
Oh. Toy Stories?
Which one?
3?
Yeah.
Boom.
Nice.
Look at you at the buzzer.
Yeah, he gave me the animated. So, yeah.
I did.
I was going to say Brady did.
I was in my brain.
Toy Story 3 in 2010.
Okay, wow.
Good job.
Best Picture. All right. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty. It won a bunch of the costume design, film editing, makeup and hairstyling, production design, sound editing, sound mixing. Very, I mean, I don't know how it didn't win visual effects. I wonder what did.
I mean, in all honesty, the escape scene in the beginning when Hardy is captured by all of them and he starts running through the tunnels and everything is just such an
right from the get-go,
intense start to the movie. It's so awesome. I feel like I didn't really remember that exactly, and I definitely do remember it being like a minute and a half into the movie, and I was like kind of edge of the seat vibe again. I mean, it was awesome to rewatch.
Yeah.
About the only polarizing thing I think that I've talked to people about this movie is Guitar Guy. Where do you guys fall on Guitar Guy?
I wanted to talk to you about Guitar Guy. First of all, his fingers had to be bleeding.
He's just shredding.
But I did get another. So the flame shooting guitarist is Australian artist-musician Sean Hape, better known as Iota.
Okay.
In an interview on Vice, he said the guitar weighed 132 pounds.
But it was on rubber bands.
And shot real gas-powered flames, which he controlled using the whammy bar.
I mean, that's amazing.
Practical effects.
How much fun did he have?
I really wanted to share it with you.
I didn't know any of that. I could have. If you had told me that was CG, I would have believed you because it's
ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So
I'm a fan.
Of course,
I thought it was great. And
it's such a cool addition to the whole thing.
They showed him, and then you'd hear the music playing.
Like everybody,
and he would slow down.
It even get quiet too. It was like, oh, they're coming. It was awesome.
But I talked to one of my coworkers at the time, and he's like, that was too much. I didn't like. And he plays guitar too, so he didn't love it.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like at least they didn't use. I mean, no disservice to Iota, but at least they didn't use someone that you would know. Like, they don't have Slash out there. Like, maybe it would have been okay.
I would have been
Slash would have fit.
I would have been more okay with it than Chris Hemsworth.
Well, Slash with a nose prosthetic, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
And he doesn't get to wear his big hat.
The big hat plays.
No, not on the road. Not when you're front of the vehicle. That thing's all over the place.
It's gone.
That gets blown off pretty quick.
Right.
It's like some heavy winds at times.
I think everybody involved with that character probably had fun. If Miller's going to use hey, listen, you're gonna play a guitar hanging from bungee cords, jumping around.
Say less.
And
suspended.
And then you go into the special effects department. They're like, all right, now you got to build a guitar that actually plays and shoots a flamethrower out of
with
it
the whammy bar.
Yeah. So.
And you got to not burn it. That's what, you were saying. The other directors are probably how did anyone not die? How did people not die when you have a?
They're driving around nonstop. Yeah,
right.
And they look. I don't know. In all the movies, they are going as fast. You try to look for
right.
Okay, are they faking how fast they're going? But no, they're swerving and people are jumping off of Mel Gibson's jumping off of stuff in these other movies too.
You got motorbikes jumping over the top and dropping Molotov type cocktails.
And those
guys on the bars,
those poles are very cool,
badass,
swaying back and forth.
And that's the thing. It has a the vibe that they're living in. It's I don't want to use not prehistoric, but it has a they don't have all the tech. They're making do, but in doing so, they're using these insane, poles, not throwing poles that explode, from the truck.
Yeah,
it's lower technology than what would have happened. Assuming the world kept going,
right,
and. They're not only effective; they are super awesome.
Yeah, I think what really set it apart was also it was a return to the Fury Road. That it was a good story, right? They had a place that they were going, or a story that they were going from Bullet Town to whatever, to the Citadel. They were trading stuff, and
Bullet Farm.
The Bullet Farm. It makes sense why they would be why they would need protection, why they would need a war rig, all that kind of stuff. So the world. And the reason for everyone's every character what they were doing, I think made sense, and it was a return to form for him from Beyond Thunderdome, which got a little silly, and there was all these other kinds of things, and it wasn't on a road Road Warrior movie. So this one kind of came back to that, and then Furiosa, yeah, because he had all the backstory. He's like, yeah, might as well put it to celluloid too.
I will say, and I get this in the Furiosa notes, but he does have another Mad Max story, tentatively titled The Wasteland, ready to go. Depending on how well Furiosa did, when I don't honestly know, I think it was actually like okay for what was out there, but not okay in terms of like, you know, making historical numbers type of thing. Yeah. Like if you look at it, I think it was like the lowest Memorial Day numbers ever, but it was like number one it that weekend. So tough to say, right? Like I think all this stuff costs money to make. That world build is not just isn't free. So,
I hope he makes it.
And it was born out of the prep for Fury Road too. Like because of telling that story, which is like in a finite amount of time, like all these backstories that he had. So,
I think we
wrote the story of Furiosa and the 18 years, as it turns out, before we meet her in Fury Road. We also wrote the story of the year Max, the year before we encounter him in Fury Road. So that would be his essential like backstory, getting to that ledge where he's standing when Fury Road starts.
That makes sense. I was half expecting to see him, a character, a little bit of Max pop up in Furiosa.
So apparently it did.
Oh yeah.
They show him briefly, but they don't.
I didn't catch it. I saw it in the notes, and then I was like, it. Yeah, apparently
they show him on the top of the hill.
It's weirdly they show him essentially like in the same type of position as you start Fury Road, even though the timing wouldn't
except his car is intact. Like it's more intact.
Well, it wouldn't have been that same shot. It's just like I don't know if for recognition purposes, but I didn't see it. I missed it.
It was probably
and it wasn't long, but it was there for people. It was an Easter egg of sorts, I think.
Sure, yeah, and they might come back to that if they do this other one.
But that was him essentially. They were in each other's orbit.
Yep, that makes sense.
And re-engaged later.
If the new one is based on how well this one did, it's going to be hard to make. So far, Furiosa has grossed $172 million worldwide off of a estimated $168 million budget.
Moneymaker!
Hey, made back this money.
So look, you're not gonna get rich off it, but you get the passion project and you make money back. All right, give it time.
So I'd like to see where the next one goes too. But.
It is such a fun world. Well, not fun in reality, but I think that was part of why I enjoyed Furiosa to the level I did. I just felt like I was very happy being in that like barren landscape, and it all worked. I don't know. I kind of dug it.
If you feel like going back, like if you want more, I would skip Mad Max, the first one, and just go right for Road Warrior or Mad Max 2. Because they pretty much sum up everything that happened that you need to know in the first movie in like the first like 2 minutes of Mad Max 2. And you might enjoy it.
I watched the trailer for Mad Max, the original, and I was just like, "Whoo!"
It's like how do they ever make a second one?
It's kind of like akin to like Reservoir Dogs to Pulp Fiction. You know, it's definitely like a low budget first. Or I know you guys are gonna hate this, but Evil Dead to Evil Dead 2, like much more low budget. And they just tried to make the sequel is really like the movie I think he wanted to make all along. Or even like what's the movie Desperado? Robert
El Mariachi,
and then he does Desperado, which is like they're different stories, but you know,
very similar.
Very similar, and you get a little bit of all the story of El Mariachi kind of in Desperado for the most part too. So it is that kind of like low budget to it blows up as an indie, and then you get to make the movie that he always wanted to.
That's what we could do.
What?
El Mariachi and Desperado.
Yeah, that was like an early
Desperado and Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
We could hit all three. It's the trilogy.
That's right. I didn't love that third one. I don't remember.
You get like was just like Sean Penn in it.
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when I was like, oh god. I mean, like not even a knock at the time, but just like you're trying too hard here.
Yeah. Yeah. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed them both. And I think, like I said, I would like to see what he could possibly do. keep bringing the practical effects.
I'm watching.
Go for it.
If the Wasteland or whatever comes out, I mean, I'm in, and I think people should be. I think Furiosa is well worth the watch if you like Fury Road at all, and if you can, parlay those into watching both of them. I think that's fantastic.
As always, no time for long goodbyes. We've done some mighty things together. Goodbye. Thanks, and save it for the pod.